many of us, I'm sure you're feeling it. Business is hard. Now more than ever, you need to have a plan in your business to not just survive, but thrive. I'm Marcia Reiner. I'm a business strategist on a mission, and I've helped tons of small business owners to establish and implement a tangible plan that guarantees sustainable profitability and guides your growth. I want to share with you some strategies that I've earned and learned on today's Profit with a Plan podcast. So today I'm excited to have my guest on today, Daniel Lona of FIT Copywriting. Daniel helps fitness and wellness businesses get a flood of business by writing magnetic copy that understands their audience. During his 8 years of running a fitness business, Daniel developed a passion for sales and persuasive writing. Ultimately, this inspired him to help fitness industries with critical skills that few entrepreneurs have the time to master. Copywriting, right? And what makes him exceptional at this? Daniel is an obsessive student of marketing and sales because he's driven to be the best possible copywriter and strategist for his clients. But sharpening his writing skills is nothing new. Daniel began developing them during his brief career as an attorney. Okay, Daniel's got some serious education things going on here, and time at the University of Chicago Law School. More recently, Daniel was one of the first to earn the title of Certified Email Copywriting Specialist from AWAI, a rigorous program from the world's top copywriting training business. In 2020, he launched a marketing and sales podcast called The Seven-Figure Fitness Business. We love podcasters. He is not, when he's not consumed with copywriting, Daniel listens to his far too large collection of vinyl records and dines on Chicago's finest pizza. Yum. Welcome to the podcast, Daniel. We're so excited to have you here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right, great. So, lawyer, fitness buff, copywriting, your music fanatic, right? I mean, it just sounds like you've got all these wonderful talents and skills that we're going to probably pull more out of you coming forward. But today we're going to talk about sales pages and really what it means and how we can use sales copy in all of our communications with our clients. So this is going to be really important. When we're talking about sales pages, describe what you mean by that.
Sure. There's a few variations of it. I mean, at the end of the day, everything that you write in business is designed to eventually lead to a sale. So in one sense, all copywriting is sales copywriting, but a sales page is basically the last in line of the series of all your communications. It's the final piece where you are now trying to persuade the prospect to purchase whatever it is you're selling on that page. And so that's how I would define a sales page. It's the last stage in the process. You are trying to convince them that what you're selling is worth buying. You've done all your other previous communication. You've already tried to build a lot of know, like, and trust and things like that. You've done marketing. Maybe they've heard you on your podcast, and now is the final stage where you're making a pitch. And a sales page usually takes place online. It's the online version of a one-on-one sales call.
Love it. Okay. Now that's clear. So when we're talking about persuasive language, is that got to be a certain format or a certain way, or can it be in my own voice and still be persuasive?
It should be in your own voice, the voice of your business, at least. And there are a few different ways that you could go about it, but I would say there's some underlying factors that you want to put in play anytime you are writing for the purpose of selling. Right. One of those is really understanding your audience. So you need to speak to their fears or worries, as well as the desired outcomes that they have most for whatever it is that's your topic. So one thing that's universal is that you really need to speak to your audience well, and you have to do a lot of research and speaking with them first before you can speak to them. And yeah.
That's really good. Speaking, so repeat that again. So you want to be able to speak
with them first. In other words, behind the scenes, background research, either one-on-one conversations with your existing customers or potential prospects or surveys, but you really need to understand their mindset and what's most important to them before you can ever begin to write effective copy.
Wow, that right there is a big shift that most business owners don't put in their business. They go out and say, "Oh, I've got this great thing and I'm going to sell it to you," rather than going, "Let me find out more about the consumer and what their needs and issues are." Like this. Okay, tell me more.
Yes, absolutely. So I think that's one thing most people probably don't understand about their own process of copywriting that should exist, or if they hire a copywriter, that's actually probably the biggest thing that you're paying for, is for them to go deep on your specific audience and truly understand what it is that they want, what it is that they're afraid of, what it is that's bothering them. So that way, when you do sit down to write the copy, you are speaking their language. That is, I would say, 60 to 70% of the success of any piece of copywriting, including sales pages.
Okay, so let me, something popped into my mind. Do we always have to be solving their problem?
Hmm. That's a great question. I would say yes. Particularly,
In
okay, so let
input,
me answer that first in the context of a sales page. When you're asking them to click buy, yes, you have to definitely speak in a way that shows that you understand what their problem is and that you have a solution for it.
mm,
In the absence of that, you probably won't get many purchases or new customers.
right? Okay, so so problem based, you're digging in, and it doesn't always have to be negative though, right? It's just a mind shift, taking them from the current solution they have and putting them into the new solution, which is you, right?
Yes, that's correct. That said, I would say a sales page usually drives home, the best sales pages drives home a singular emotion that you want them to feel. Now, whether that's a positive or negative emotion, again, goes back to what does your audience want? What are they concerned with? You know, I'll use just sort of a common everyday example. If you were a company selling, since you're not feeling 100% best today, Marcia, maybe this is a relevant example. If you were selling cold medicine, if that was your company, you really want to speak to the pain that they're going through. That's really going to catch their attention, and really resonate with them. So if that's if that's your audience, that's really a great emotion to bring up and strike. There are other businesses and products and services that may be more aspirational in nature, perhaps. And so in that sense, you might want to tap more into a positive emotion. But I do think that the best sales pages find a way to weave both in there, because you do want to get them to understand that you understand what they're going through. But at the same time, you do want to paint a picture of that brighter future. And if you can do both, you really have the best sales page.
Excellent. Okay, so one motion, one emotion, not the the verbal throw up that you can do on sales pages. And oh, I can do everything, including, change out light bulbs, right? I can
Right,
do everything for you, but just to deal with that one thing.
right.
So okay, so we find out what that one thing is, and we've talked to and interviewed our potential customers, or our existing customers, to find out what that one thing is. Then how do we craft that message to really employ the persuasion? I mean, that's where I think most people block, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So I think it's important to understand the building blocks, if you will, for a sales page. So, like
Okay.
I mentioned to you earlier, when we had a prior conversation about this, we all know that a sales page is trying to sell somebody. You want them to take the action of buying your service or product.
Right.
That's obvious. But what should the sales page do to get them in a place where they want to do that? And so there are, if we had 5 hours, I could talk about 100 things. But for right now, just to say it briefly, I think there's four top elements or building blocks that you want in a sales page, or that it should accomplish if you want it to be effective. The first is to stir up emotions, the right emotions, the ones that are their most relevant pain points or their most relevant desires and outcomes that they're seeking. If your sales page doesn't strike at the heart of their emotions, it's not going to be very effective. You might get some people who've known you for years to still buy, but you're not going to get a lot of new customers if you don't really tap into emotion. And the reason is, and I'm sure you're pretty well, steeped and knowledgeable about sales, is that people buy on emotion first, and then they use logical reasons to justify their emotions on why they should buy. You can think about that anytime we've had an impulse buy, right? It's always been an
Right.
emotional reaction first, and then you go in your mind and say, well, look, but I really need it because of A, B, and C, and that really makes good sense today for me to buy that. So you start with the emotion, and then you go into logic. So
Like it.
you have to have an emotional connection with your audience in your copy. So that's number one. Number two is
Taking
that
great notes here, so this is good. Number two.
yeah, number two building block is that you need to explain what's unique about what you're offering. Few of us are in an industry where we're the only one, right? I mean, we don't like to admit it, but I admit it. There's thousands of other copywriters. There's thousands of business coaches. So that's true for almost everybody. Whenever they're selling something, the prospect has tons of other options. So why is yours special? Why should I buy yours over anybody else's? You really need to communicate that clearly in your sales page for it to be effective. I mean, that's a box you must check.
Must check. Okay.
Must check. Yeah.
So let's take a little stop on that unique differentiation that we have. In a highly commoditized business like copywriting or consulting, business strategist or financial advisor or dentist or all the people out there that there's one on every corner, if not a few. How do you really do that? How do you separate yourself?
That's a great question. Well, I would say the guiding light for that is that what makes you unique should be something that appeals to your audience. It makes no sense to create something unique about yourself that doesn't tap into one of those pain points or desires of your audience. And so I know I might sound like a broken record here, but again, it goes back to understanding your audience. What are their biggest needs? What are their biggest concerns? What are their biggest worries? Here's the nice thing. Most businesses probably aren't going to do a deep dive on this. And so if you do, you're going to put yourself in an elite category that really understands your audience. And once you do that, you can find some uniqueness to tap into for whatever it is you're selling, whether that's a product or service. So again, I say go back to your audience to find out what that could be. What would deliver something that is truly special for them. If you do enough customer interviews, prospect interviews, you'll probably find them. You'll probably find in those conversations that they mentioned something. Can I offer one more thing to help with that? I know I talked long there already.
No, this is fabulous stuff. So go.
So one of my favorite questions to ask in customer and prospect interviews that I do for my own business and I do for my clients is, what would be a dream solution for you in this area? So, if you're talking about business coaching, that's the area you're talking about. For me, in my business, it would be copywriting. If you're looking, what would be a dream solution for you with sales pages or website copy or your email marketing? What would be a dream solution for you? If you ask enough of your ideal customers that question, you'll probably find something to tap into, to put into your offer that is truly unique.
Like it. Okay. And it's always around that radio station of what's in it for me, right? WFMII
Right.
or WF, whatever that is. It's always got to be from the customer's viewpoint, not your own.
Right.
Because I think that's the real value of having these. And if you can get them to articulate what their dream solution is from their point of view, then you can slide right in. I like it. All right.
Yeah.
So we've got the right emotions, so that they can put logic to their emotions as to why they bought. And then we're going to have a unique positioning for us, based on the customer's biggest solution, that their desire that they're looking for, and that dream solution. So what's number 3?
Number 3 would be proving that what you're promising is true. So shorthand is proof. You need proof of whatever claims you're making. You get them excited about what your claim is in the headline of your sales page.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's where they stop in their tracks and go, oh, okay, well, that sounds exactly like what I need. But then further down the page, you're going to explain why what your solution is unique and special and not something they've seen before. And now they're even more excited and saying, okay, this is different than what I've seen before. This sounds like something no one else is offering me. And I'm excited about what you're saying. You're speaking my language, but how do I know this isn't just, wild marketing claims that I see every day? So you really now have to kind of speak to that cynical side of the prospect that says, yeah, but is this just another too good to be true thing?
Right, that claim of I can make you a millionaire this month, right? Or you can lose 10 pounds in one day.
Right, exactly. So you have to find a way to prove your claims. I think we're all familiar with the testimonial. That's probably the most
Mhm.
common example of proof, and that's great, and that's fantastic. And there's some specific strategies on how to make those more powerful than the average one. But I also recommend looking for ways to prove your claims even beyond a testimonial. So I'm not saying don't use a testimonial, use them, but don't just be complacent with that and just say, okay, I've checked that box. I put in 3 good testimonials. I'm done. I've proved it. Not always. The more proof that you can offer, the better. So there's other ways to do it as well. One of my favorites is to see if you can find a way to demonstrate whatever it is you're promising. So, sometimes you have to be creative here. It may not always be obvious. I think in the software category, we see that all the time. That's the purpose of the 7-day free trial of a new app or some business software that you discovered online, and they're going to give you a free trial version either for 1 week or just a quote unquote light version. And that's to prove their claims. That's to prove that what they're saying is true, that it is going to deliver on what they say. That may not always be possible, if you're not selling software as easily as that, but I still think it's worth being creative about that. Sometimes it could just be a 1-minute video that shows you coaching a client to success, or where they have that aha moment or something like that. I did copywriting for it was basically a fitness business, but it was a woman who taught handstands, and she offered what was unique about her in her coaching was that she offered very detailed video feedback. No other coach in handstands ever really did that or did it well. And so that was something that really stood out to all of her prospects, is they craved having that one-on-one video feedback. And so we put a demo video, 2-minute demo video showing people how she would do that. So, even if you don't have software, there's still ways to find a place to demonstrate what you're offering. Goes a long
I
way.
like it. I like
Um,
it.
and then there's the authority way of proving what you do too. As seen on. We've all seen those on web pages, sometimes on people's homepages, sometimes on sales pages, as seen on ABC News or something like that. And
Right.
sometimes that alone can just give a person enough trust to buy from you, even if it's not specific to the claim. So I know I kind of talked a lot about the proof part, but just wanted to give some
No,
other
but
options.
this is important. This is
Yeah.
really important to be able to, I mean, these are the core foundations of your sales page. And if you're weak in one of those areas, and probably in one of the most important ones, which is social proof of what you've done, you're not going to sell, right?
Right.
So
Right.
this is good.
Exactly.
Well worth the time. All
Right.
right, so we've got testimonials, demonstrations. I like the trials and the authority things. I like the video pieces and different ideas on it. Anything else in the proof before we move on?
Yeah, just one smaller point, which is that you could also just state the specific number of people you helped to success. That's another great way of doing it, especially if you have volume. You may not. And so not all of these options for proof are necessarily going to fit every service or product that you want to sell,
Hmm.
but it's nice to know all the options that are available on there. I think people lean too much on testimonials and we start to get kind of inured to it. Like it doesn't really, we've all seen the, customer testimonials on every sales page, and I don't know how many people read them anymore, frankly. So if you can find new creative ways to prove what you're saying, it's always a good thing.
Definitely time to change things up, right? I'm
Right.
liking this. Okay, so
Right.
what's number 4?
Sure. The fourth piece that's absolutely essential to any successful sales page is creating an irresistible offer.
Mm,
I think this is where a lot of sales pages go wrong. I think most people's offer, most businesses, most entrepreneurs' offers are pretty typical for their industry. And that's problematic. Um, Again, you could do all the other three things and you've come pretty far. If you have stirred up all the right emotions in your prospect, you've explained why your solution is unique and special for them. And now you've proven it too, to their satisfaction, that you're going to deliver on your promise. They still want to know, what's the offer? What are you
Yeah.
ultimately selling? What does it include? What does it say? And so there's a number of ways of creating an irresistible offer. I'll just go
All
into a
right.
couple really quick.
Yeah.
One of my favorites is to stack value to the point where they are basically saying, I cannot believe you are offering this much for this price.
Right. It's crazy that you're doing that, right?
Right, right.
Love it.
Right. You kind of, there's that classic, the used car salesman television commercial where,
The Ginsu
they,
knives.
right. Yeah. The Ginsu knives. I actually talked about that on one of my podcast episodes when I talked about irresistible offers. It's cheesy, but they went about it the right way. They stacked value, over and over and over again. And it's that, the silly but effective turn of phrase that says, well, wait, there's more, you kind of want to get to that point without the cheese factor, ideally, but
Sure.
you
No
do want to
cheese.
stack, no cheese, but you
No
do
cheese.
want to stack value as much as possible. And you can do that within the core offer itself of, say, like say it was business coaching, what that just price includes for the business coaching itself. But then you can also stack value with bonuses. We're all familiar with bonuses. I think we've seen them
Right.
a lot. I recommend going both routes if possible, but you really do want to get to a point where a prospect is saying, I get that much for that price. That's a better problem to have, that they're a little bit in disbelief with that, than is that all I get?
Right.
Right.
Right. Okay. So stacking products. It doesn't have to be products that cost you a lot of money though, right? I mean, these could be products or bonuses or value that are perceived value or time in exchange or a different version of what you're offering. So you could offer the book form and the audio form or something like that, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a lot of different businesses. And so it kind of depends on what your business is and how you're going about selling it, whether that's going to be delivered in person, whether you're selling it one-on-one, whether it's on a sales page, et cetera. But to your point, there are ways to leverage your time so that way you don't have to, add 3 new bonuses that now basically, because you have to, for each sale, have to do 10 more hours of work, have now massively cut into your profit margins. You do want to keep an eye on that. Um,
True.
but yeah, digital products are a great way to leverage your time. Um, Group settings of information delivered or coaching delivered is another great way to leverage your time. Recordings of speeches or presentations or webinars that you've given, say over the past year, maybe you've delivered 5 speeches, 5 webinars, etc. You could bundle that all if you recorded them and add that as a bonus. So I think it's important when you're doing it to look for ways to leverage your time. Otherwise, you end up cutting into your profit margins. And yes, now you have more sales, but it's not really the win that you want it to be.
Right. I can totally see if I stack something up that, I'm doing all these other things for, then it really is a value to them, but it's a time strain on me. So I see that. Okay. So we can stack value. I love this idea. So how
Yeah.
else could we do it in our
Uh,
offer?
yeah, these are probably things people have heard of. So in that sense, my other options aren't necessarily like revelatory, but I also don't think people go through the criteria when they create their offer either. And so like as one of my favorite mentors, Brendan Burchard, says, common knowledge isn't always common practice. And so it's about executing on these. So the money back guarantee, that's another way to make the offer more irresistible. But let me add one point on that, which is, I think, again, too often we see mundane money back guarantees where it's just your satisfaction is guaranteed. And that, that doesn't really inspire somebody to buy. So I think it's worth looking at how you can make a very specific guarantee. The more specific, the better. So I'll use the fitness industry example. If you were offering a weight loss program, and you knew you could deliver on this, if you knew you could deliver on, say, we guarantee that you'll lose at least 10 pounds in the next 30 days, if you have the track record for that, you've shown that in your proof, and you put that as part of your guarantee and say, we guarantee that through this nutrition or fitness program, you're going to lose 10 pounds at the end of 30 days. And if not, you get all your money back. That's a much stronger guarantee than just satisfaction. What does that even mean?
Right.
And besides, people don't, as Jeffrey Gitomer always says, people don't want to be satisfied. That's not the standard they're
They
shooting
want to
for.
be wowed.
Yeah, exactly. They want to be wowed. So I think adding specificity to a money back guarantee is really important.
I like that. And you know, it almost stacks onto your proof, because you're saying, hey, I'm so confident in my solution to you that if you don't get it, then I'm going to give you your money back. That's a social proof right there too. Love it.
Right. Exactly. And I could just add one more element
Sure.
to irresistible offers, which is urgency to buy. That is critical. So if you could have all this great value stacked, you can even have a kind of like wow inducing money back guarantee. But if that offer is available today, next month, 6 months, 12 months in the exact same form, I can almost promise you they will try to find a way to procrastinate and buy it later. And so you're really lacking irresistibility if they can wait a year and not lose anything in the offer. So
Right.
I do recommend adding a deadline, or something goes away after a certain amount of time. I strongly encourage it being real and believable, and not just arbitrary deadlines or arbitrary losses of bonuses at some point or something. But I do very much encourage having that deadline of some kind, where if they don't act by a certain time, that same offer isn't going to be there anymore.
And I think, especially as people just starting up in their particular offer, they could have been in business for 25 years doing this, but if they're starting a new offer, maybe they're coming in as an entry level or a beta test or something along those lines, where I'm going to give it today for $100, but next month if you don't buy it, it's going up, and then
Right.
you have to take it to that next step, and then it becomes 200, and then the month after that it becomes 300. So now the person that didn't buy it is going, oh my gosh, I should have bought at that time. And now it also adds credibility to you because you're standing by what you said.
Yes, exactly. And that's a great example too, Marcia, of a real reason why there's a deadline. It's not arbitrary. It's because this is beta test mode. And so obviously I'm going to give you a little bit of a reduced rate during that period, but understand that once that period's over, that's it. I actually did that at the beginning days of my copywriting business. I offered a reduced rate. When I was reaching out and getting this thing launched, I told people that because I'm just starting out, I'm trying to build some early momentum, and I can give you a reduced rate off of a first project. And that was just a use of that deadline, and making the offer more irresistible, because people will always find a way to wait if they can.
I know.
Yeah, unless it's
so it's got to be urgent enough to make sense to them. You can't always catch all of the buyers at the right time that they are ready to buy. Maybe they're just shopping or early stages of it, or maybe they're just kind of feeling out whether this is a real problem with them. But I think that this urgency thing, you can really bring in those that are right there on the fence, ready to go.
Yeah, absolutely. It definitely pushes people who are right on the fence into the category of becoming a customer, or a repeat customer, whichever the case may be. Yeah, absolutely.
Love it.
Yeah, definitely great for fence sitters.
Yeah, right. Okay, so we've talked about sales pages. We brought in the importance of having emotion in everything, but it's not your emotion, it's the customer's emotion and what they're feeling at that time, and that problem that we want to solve for them. I love it. And then these 4 building blocks are great. You gave us so many ideas on proof. You gave us a beautiful, irresistible offer that has those 3 strong components in it. Daniel, this is great. Where can listeners find out more about you and your methods and getting an awesome sales page together?
Yeah, thank you. So my website URL is fit-copywriting.com. So fit-copywriting.com. And I actually have a bundle that goes deeper into the sales page topics that we're talking about right here now for free. And if you just do a / on that URL, and then add the phrase sales page surge, just no spaces or hyphens, just sales page surge after that, then you can get a combo. It's a 20-minute audio training and a PDF checklist and guide to go with it that gives you 3 tactics on how to level up your sales page. Now, I created it with one thing in mind, which was I tried to come up with a way that I could help anybody with their sales page. So it doesn't have to, you don't have to be a fitness business to take advantage of this, but anybody with their sales page without having to understand copywriting, without having to have skill as a copywriter, and without having to have me look at your copy. So what are just like the top 3 things that I can give you without any experience that would give you the biggest bang for your time? And that's what the guide and bundle offers.
Wow, that's great, because I know a lot of people are just, that's just not their skill set. They know their widget, they just don't know how to talk about it in a way that really attracts and persuades people to buy in with them. So this is going to be a super valuable offer. And I encourage all the listeners to go get it. I'll go get it myself and dig in there, because that sounds great. I know that copywriting's definitely a weakness on many. So thank you, Daniel. This has been great. All right, listeners, thanks for listening today. I hope you found an idea or 2 to put into your business that will help you become more profitable. Considering what's happened to businesses over this year, 2020 has just been really hard. And now more than ever, it's important to create your own profit plan so that you can have a thriving business as well. And I too have 6 action tips that you can get to put into your business that will make a huge impact right now. So go check them out at failproofbiz, that's biz.com, and you can pick up those 6 tips and they'll help you make sure your business is thriving. And Daniel and I would love to hear your feedback, any questions or even ideas for future shows. Please comment and subscribe on the podcast here. And as always, you can catch Profit with a Plan on any of your favorite podcast players. We're looking forward to more great profitable information on next week's show. So until then, make your plans and profit with it. Thanks, Daniel.
Thank you, Marcia.